Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cloud Foundry Weekly Live. We're live from the Cloud Foundry Day in Frankfurt, Germany. We've got a great show lined up for you today. I'll share my camera around here a little bit here, but we only have two cameras working right now, so we'll see the audience here in a bit. But as you can see, Nikki's not here with us today, but we got V to fill in as our co-host. So thanks, V, for being on. And we have our special guest today. Do you want to kind of share what you do and what you can share? So we have anonymized Cloud Foundry user, large retailer, and that's all we're going to say about that. But we're going to share those stories and kind of go from there. So
he works at a very secret company that we all visit every week.
Yeah, you probably bought something in one of our stores, so it's very likely that you have heard of us. Big retailer, South Germany. So
leave it at that, right? So do you want to give an introduction and kind of tell the community who you are and how did you get into Cloud Foundry?
Okay, so my story with Cloud Foundry started, 7 years ago or so, when we were kind of thinking about how we can make the next step within our company. How can we modernize our whole infrastructure stuff? We knew we couldn't move forward in the pace we wanted because we had like cluttered infrastructure setups, no standardization, a lot of VMs in our data center, and we knew, okay, that's not working out for us. We wanted to be faster. We wanted to deliver more software quicker, reliable, standardized in a modern way. And that was basically what made us thinking, okay, well, what can we do? So we reached out and naturally, we came to Cloud Foundry and said, okay, we need to have a look into this because on the paper and from the slides was like, okay, that's exactly what we want to have. We want to have a standardized way. We want to have a simple way. We don't want to have big infrastructure teams like those DevOps teams where you need to have 2 or 3 people in a team, like running the show in each team. That's not going to work out for us because where should the people come from? Like running this thing, or the other way around. Like if you have developers in your teams, they want to develop software and not run the software because, you're a developer and not a administrator. Yeah. So
let me ask a question. Maybe I'm not sure how it's going to resonate, but do you have an area of specialization in your profession? Like I'm mostly focused on security. If you have a focus like that, is there like in this transition that your company went through, is there like the main thing that changed from your perspective?
So personally, I don't have a real speciality because I'm part of our platform team. We are basically divided into 2 smaller teams, like the ones that are running the whole thing, and the part of my team who's responsible for enablement, like enabling the other developers in our company to onboard people to the platform and to just run their software.
And today we talked about a few like success stories, like okay, some companies were doing this and then they started using this other thing and here's what went well. I wanted to ask, what was the challenge? What was the main challenge to get to a better place, let's say?
So technically, I already mentioned what was the challenge for us. But in the end, it turned out that it's not about technology. It's more about the people working with this stuff. And we needed to get them into this thing and look into this stuff. And basically, it turned out that having those internal success stories and the one developer who was curious and brought their app into production like a day or so, they were telling the stories, like coffee machine stories, and saying, hey, you need to check this out from this other team. It's super simple. You don't have to worry about stuff.
did you find that the architecture of the platform informed how the human processes started to work?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's you have some guardrails. You need to follow like the standard way of bringing your software to the platform, but there's enough freedom, like from a developer standpoint, that you can do whatever you need to do, and that's a good thing. That was maybe the main or the most significant point in our company.
Yeah. Do you have any cool, like, what's your favorite app or use case that you help run?
Basically, if you're one of our customers, which is very likely, everyone is basically using stuff that runs on Cloud Foundry, because it's everything that's publicly available, like from our company, like customer-facing stuff, runs through the platform, and that's great to see, and it's like super stable. We didn't have in all the years any significant outage that wasn't introduced by ourselves. So it wasn't a technical problem. Basically, we weren't able to read the release notes properly. So some important words like breaking changes.
Yeah, you want to keep an eye out for those, right?
Yeah, you definitely have to.
Awesome. Well, do you have? Well, we didn't ask you the first question. Do you remember your first CF push? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, maybe my personal first CF push is personally not so impressive to me. It's like, well, okay, it works. It just works. Like that was the expectation. It's more, well, what I find the most interesting is like if you explain it to others and they don't get what you're talking about, and then they use it and they say, oh, it's really that simple? Like that's it?
No.
And now what? I don't have to bring my container. I don't have to bring my certificates and whatnot. No, it just works.
Do you have, if we talk about where, like, we have this great platform and it does a lot of things super well, and it's like, it's almost boring and sometimes to talk about it because, yeah, it just works. There's no story, it just works. But are there still areas where things are difficult? Like, what do you think could improve? Like, nowadays, where is the struggle? Or are you just like chilling all day and like?
No, actually, running the platform in such a stable way, which is the case for us, like opens the room for caring about other things. Like you cannot. I don't have any specific example, but yeah, you're not into maintaining your platform like every single minute of your working day. You can work on other stuff like improving developer experience, like providing more stuff like pipelines or better documentation about stuff.
Is there one of these areas that you think Cloud Foundry could expand into? Like maybe Cloud Foundry could do a better job with developer experience, or to include documentation somehow, or like, is there something that Cloud Foundry could grow into?
One thing that's really hard is like, how do you as a developer get into Cloud Foundry? Like that's a big step in the beginning compared to Kubernetes, which has their local Kate setups and stuff.
For context, we had a discussion yesterday about like Kind, Minikube, and all those ways that it's like super easy to like just type some commands on your laptop. You have a Kubernetes cluster to play around with, and Cloud Foundry, I guess it's not that level of convenience.
Exactly. There was, I think, a couple of years ago, or maybe almost 10 years ago, there was a project, but even that wasn't that ease of start. Like everything you have in production, like this super easy way of bringing your apps to production, like that experience is kind of missing for you as a developer to get into the stuff and to look into stuff. So how do you want to get into Cloud Foundry if you're not in maybe a bigger company which already made that decision to go into?
So it's a good tool to do serious business with, but not to do unserious business with. If that makes sense.
Well, this topic came up in the show in Palo Alto earlier this year about, what can we do to get it back on the developer laptop? And I think we saw a couple of projects today where there's a CPI for like libvirt VirtualBox. Maybe that's another way to look into that, right? And then, there's also the Bosch Docker CPI, if I remember too. So there's maybe some projects that we can work on as a community, and maybe if that's the thing that we think is missing from a developer experience, like get it on locally on your laptop. Maybe that's something we can look into as well. I don't know. Maybe I'm just. It came up last show, so it's interesting. Kind of came up again. So I don't know. That's I think we're maybe working on some things too to help that, but I can't really talk about some of that stuff yet. But okay, that's so we kind of covered general use cases and things. Do you have any kind of like crazy story of like either just running a large workload or having a problem, and how, like, did you have a problem with Cloud Foundry and did you have how to fix it, or any kind of like heroic moments over the last 7 or 8 years running it?
Yeah, what was important in our company is like we have a seasoned business, and back in the days when we were running not our workloads weren't running on our platform, we have like this stable phase where we shouldn't touch infrastructure or shouldn't touch software, don't deploy stuff, basically freezing stuff. So, and technically we still have this phase, but essentially we deploy whenever we want. Like we have the confidence to even in high traffic scenarios or in important times of the year, for us as a retailer, we can deploy software and also update the platform. Like we do this like all the time. It's like scheduled weekly, and we do this no matter what. Yeah.
Do you run your updates during the day, during business
hours?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. That's did you have to do anything special with your developers to get that kind of that practice in motion? Because it's a interesting, like, you're one of the probably most up to date, like very, like you give them credit for that, you patch very frequently, and that's great and automated. And there's some customers that are still struggling with the business of like, no, you still have to, like, you have the scalable cloud platform, but you still need to put a change ticket in and like wait for the weekend and wait for off hours. So like, was there anything that you had to do from an organizational perspective to get that approved, or would there's just like maturity through the years type of thing?
No, it was like in the beginning it was like, okay, we have to be careful, but then as we as a platform team and also the developers like got more and more confidence, so that thing just runs, it does its job. Basically, no one cared anymore about this high stable phase or whatnot, and we just rolled out or deployed our software if it's required. So then we do it.
On the topic of doing like updates in the middle of the day and very high season, let's say, is there any practices to the updates? Like, do you do like a canary deployments, blue green? Like, do you have a specific strategy?
Yeah. That basically depends on the team. So every team can decide what they want to do. Some do blue-green deployments because they need to test a new version in between because it's very important, authentication, for example. But most of our teams just use the rolling updates because they're easy, convenient. Just replaces the droplets, and that's it.
Very cool. All right. Are there any questions from the crowd? I know we all want to probably get to the party, right? But
have you protected any of the creepy stuff?
Repeat for the camera.
A lot of people mentioned today that there's Cloud Foundry running beside Kubernetes, and there's all kinds of different heterogeneous infrastructure / platform types that are in a lot of organizations. Do you also experience some of this, and have you tried Queryfee for the Cloud Foundry experience on Kubernetes and all?
No, we didn't try Corifi. We are running like classic Cloud Foundry, and that works super well for us. So, but sure, we have the discussions. I think in the same as in each company, like why can't I use Kubernetes and where can I deploy my containers and stuff? And the simple answer is nowhere. So because we don't want the containers, we don't want our teams to maintain the containers. That's an effort, and we don't want our teams to have to do.
Any other questions?
How often do you update Cloud Foundry itself, and what's the time lag between a release? Let's say today would be version 60 released. When would I find it on your platform?
So we run, or we update weekly, on a weekly basis, and it runs through our foundations. Like starts in a like platform internal foundation, and then we roll it out to our non-prod foundation, and then it goes through production, and that's basically automated. So it does its thing, and if we don't want the update because it breaks in non-prod, which happens sometimes, but not really often, but then we have to pull the trigger and stop the production rollout. But other than that, it's automated, and we are basically like on the latest version. Like we don't do .0 versions, but as soon as the .1 is out, then we move on to the next version.
Any others?
Whatever here.
Thank you very much. It's very good to hear people has their own opinion. You just say, oh, we don't want our team to maintain containers. That's refreshing to hear because containers everywhere. I want to ask more about like what's your short-term and long-term strategy on this platform? Yeah,
basically continue running the platform because it works. It really it sounds like a cliche or some tagline or whatnot, but for us as a company, it was totally the right decision to use Cloud Foundry as a platform. Back in the days past, yeah, but now you call it platform, and to not build our own platform. Like if you go the Kubernetes way, yeah, you have like a big box of tools and you can build your own platform, but that's a long way, to be honest. Like everyone who tried to like gave up at some point. But I haven't heard any single story that someone who went on Cloud Foundry left Cloud Foundry. So I think it's the same for us.
So I have a question that might be controversial, given a lot of the talks we saw today. You said you don't want to move away from Cloud Foundry. You never moved away. Was there any point where it was closed? Like, did people have a discussion? Hey, Kubernetes is the hot thing now. Let's do it. And then everybody had a discussion like, wait, hold on. Did you have that moment?
In the very beginning, we had like when we were exploring which route we want to go. Sure, there was. We had a Kubernetes camp and we had a platform like Cloud Foundry camp. Luckily, the Cloud Foundry camp won with the help of our boss, who said, "No, boys and girls, we're going that way and not that way." But yeah, you have. I think that's normal. Like there are people that are like, okay, I give this a try, and then you see how good it works for you, and the other ones like, oh no, why are you taking away my toys from my sandbox? Like I want to continue playing around, which is basically is for me.
Since you first deployed CF, there was never serious discussion about moving away from it.
No, I don't think that anyone. I cannot speak for every developer in our company, but Sure, there are some things in the beginning like, why can't I do canary deployments? Like I wanna deploy for 10% of my users. But if you then dive into the topic and then ask, okay, why do you wanna do this? Like it boils down in a lot of cases, like almost 100%, it boils down because I can or because I want, but there is no serious need for this.
It's all about the opinions, keeping everyone in control, opinionated platform, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, I know we are close on time. Any other final questions from the audience? I appreciate you all staying here and watching. This is the time of the show that I normally have a like and subscribe pillow that I flash around on screen. So you should, should like and subscribe. Thank you, and watch the episodes from past and future. So without further ado, and then I guess we close the show with our very first show. With a commenter, listener said CF BY. So that's how we end every show. So we just give a CF BY. And I'll try to get these screens connected or disconnected so I can flip my monitor screen around here. And maybe we can do that. Maybe we'll just make that. All right, well, this is going to do for now. So, hello, audience. Is everyone here since I had some camera issues? But we'll do CF BY. Bye.